had the opportunity to experience a lot of things from a male perspective, but this was new for me, what the Lord had to say to me. And I have confessed to the Lord that I'm too sympathetic. I'm too sympathetic to people that might be in fornication under certain circumstances. But of course, God is black and white, you know. God's morality is black and white, but in this world it's not black and white. I have to admit that I'm sympathetic to certain circumstances, such as where people might be involved in an exclusive relationship and living with each other for a multitude of reasons. So I know adultery is wrong unequivocally. I know that fornication is wrong. But I not that I justified it. I just have sympathy under certain circumstances for it. So what does that mean? It means that my opinion in this area needs to be strengthened. That's what the Lord's telling me. My opinion in this area needs to be strengthened, and this is how he taught it to me. I'll just because I'm not getting it out. So let me tell you what happened. Sometimes the Lord brings things to me that happened years ago. You know that I was attending a synagogue for a while. I'm still in relationship with the rabbi and his wife, but I don't go there anymore. And there was a man I was taking classes there, and there was a man that was taking classes there that was, we were sort of friendly, and I had given him one of my books, and he seemed to be interested. He was actually a Catholic man that was desirous of becoming Jewish. But we met in a religious situation, you know, and someone told me that the rabbi, there was a single woman in the synagogue that told me that. Right? So I couldn't imagine what the rabbi meant, that he was not a nice man. Now, I know that I grew up in a different generation than the people in their 20s today, and fornication is much more tolerated today than it was then, or premarital sex is much more tolerated today than it was then. But I never ever heard the expression "not a nice man" to do with sexual mores. Young women either waited till they got married or they didn't. But young men, whatever they did, they did. I heard the term "good girl," okay, which you don't hear today, but either you were a good girl or a bad girl, okay? Never heard it about a man. And here I hear the rabbi saying he's not a nice man. So in a million years, I never related what the rabbi was saying to sexual behavior. I mean, he's a mature man already. He has grown children. What do you mean he's not a nice man? And that was like a good year ago or more. And the Lord brought that to me just the other day as I was waking up in the morning. And he said to me what the rabbi meant by that was that he was in the synagogue taking classes while he had been having an affair with a woman. It was an ongoing affair. It was as far as I know, an exclusive ongoing affair. And she had died. She died. He wanted to convert to Judaism. And again, it was third party, but that's what got back to me, that the rabbi said he would never convert him. He was not a nice man. And the Lord said to me, what the rabbi meant by that was that he was having an affair. He was having sex with this woman. I don't know whether she wanted to marry him or not. I really don't know. But the rabbi was saying that any man that engages in non-marital sex is not a nice person. And I was like shocked. I had never heard that term before. But this rabbi, who's, I believe, in the natural, in the physical, living the moral laws of God, said he declared this man not a nice man because of the lifestyle that he engaged in. And if you talk to the man, he told you he was desperately in love with the woman, that he was hurting, that she was gone. I don't know what the story was, why they didn't get married. I really don't know. So I woke up in the morning, this was a couple of days ago, with this revelation on me that it's really not nice to do that. If you don't mind me using that term, it's a trite term. You know? That's not nice. Sleeping with a woman that you're not married to. It's not nice for a woman to be doing it, and it's not nice for a man to be doing it. And I just lay in bed because the Lord talks to me a lot when I wake up in the morning. And he was talking to me for almost an hour. And when I got out of bed, I just realized that he had raised my moral consciousness another notch. Because I'm telling you, those thoughts never occurred to me. Number one, because in my mind, men were not equal to women on that level. And number two, in today's culture, as long as you're not hurting the person, my position is, well, it's not really my business. This whole world is going around on fornication today. What am I not going to... I wouldn't be able to talk to 9 out of 10 people that I know. So I don't think about it very much. But I never think in terms of someone not being a nice person. I haven't heard that term in years. Not a nice person. Because of their behavior. What they're doing isn't nice. And that it was with me the whole day. That God had raised my consciousness. He had raised my moral compass to a higher place. That it's not acceptable. There are no circumstances under which it's acceptable to God. No circumstances under which it is acceptable to God to do that. And I understand that my opinion has to line up with the opinion of God if I'm to get up here. See? And I'm in a real hurry, brethren. I'm in a real hurry to get that miracle working power, because there's a very great need in this ministry for it. See? So it's like the Lord is raising my consciousness every day. And I feel that I actually feel the elevation in my heart. So, well, most of you don't know, what it was like. And I don't want you to think I was around in the 1800s. I was not. In the 1800s, even the early 1900s, America, and I wasn't around in the early 1900s either. I just read a lot and watch a lot of movies. America and Britain, we were the pious nation. Europe is all Catholic. Europe is much more sexually liberated, if that's the word you want to. That's the word that the people that want to engage in that lifestyle would use, that they were liberated. But the people that know God would say, no, you're not liberated, you're fallen. You're fallen and you're morally corrupt, if you can justify that. So I actually saw a movie not too long ago that took place in the early 1900s. And a woman came from Europe, an actress. She came with a man that she wasn't married to, and the hotel wouldn't give her a room. They wouldn't give her a room, and then someone from the government came and told her they wanted to leave America. Her immorality was offending the American people of the town that she came into. Well, can you imagine that going on today, in our country today? That a man of stature, I think it was a newspaper man, a publisher, he came and he said, I'm going to give you bad press, or I'm not going to give you good press, or something like that. We want you to leave town. We don't want people like you in this town. And so if you play a movie like that today, you say, wow, they were really prejudiced in those days. Weren't they uptight about what someone else was doing? Well, maybe someone else was doing it, and then someone else was doing it, and then someone else was doing it. And look at us today, will you? And you have someone like me who's preaching the gospel of God, and the Lord comes to me and tells me that my moral opinion is lacking in this area of not recognizing that from his point of view, it's not nice to be doing that. That there is no justification for that under the sun that God will agree with. And that if I want to rise to this place, okay, and attain miracle working power, there has to be some changes in my attitude. I have to know that that is wrong. And not only is it wrong, but that makes you not a nice man, that you would do that. Now, I don't know who's listening to me, but I know that there was someone that contacted me from the internet a few months ago that was in that position. Maybe God's talking to you. I don't know. But listen to me. When God says to you, you're not a nice man, that doesn't mean you are inherently not a nice man, that there's no possibility to change. There is a possibility to change. You can be a nice man. But to be a nice man in God's eyes, you need to stop doing that. You need to get married or get out. I guess it's the same person. Haven't heard from him in a few months. You need to either get married or get out of her life. Get out of her house and get out of her bed. It's the word of the Lord to you. You must be very important. The Lord must have great plans for you. This is the second meeting that I know of that he's directed towards you. Okay. So God thinks what you're doing is not nice, and that there's no possible justification for it. So, my consciousness has been raised. God says, don't associate with those people. He says, don't. Now, I could, in this world today, am I going to say I won't associate with you if I know you're in fornication, in an exclusive relationship? You know, nice people. What is nice? God says you're not nice. God says you're not nice if you're doing it. See? Nice people that you work with, that you're friends with, that maybe they're even in the synagogue of the church. There are poor people fornicating in the church. And the tendency is to say, well, they're nice people, they're not hurting anybody, I like them. It's an exclusive relationship, so leave it alone. God told me, he woke me up and told me that's not nice. That's not nice. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. You don't be rude to anybody that you know are doing that, but to fellowship with people like that, to have dinner with people like that, to socialize with people like that, remove yourself, touch not the unclean thing, the Lord says. So if I sound like some old-fashioned biddy, well then let me be an old-fashioned biddy. Because I want to get up here. I want to get that miracle-working power. I want to help someone that needs to be helped. I want to go into longevity. I must agree with God. I must disagree with this society, and I must agree with God. And in case you didn't get it, brethren, okay, fornication is not just intercourse. Oral sex is intercourse. Yeah. Petting to orgasm is intercourse. Okay. Deep kissing, which stirs up deep passions that should be between a man and his wife, is fornication in God's eyes. This is what he told me. I woke up in the morning to this teaching 2 or 3 days ago. So the Lord's going to bring this nation, he's going to start with the church. He's going to bring this nation back to a state of the morality that his righteousness demands. His righteousness demands it. And it begins with the people who say they serve him, sharing his opinion. So I have repented of being lax when it comes to fornication, of being accepting of it, if on the surface it appeared to be acceptable, an exclusive relationship, blah, 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 blah. This is an ugly world, brethren. I never forgot years ago when I was taking Tai Chi. I was in a Tai Chi class. And we all went out to dinner, and one of the women in the class was having an affair with one of the men. And the whole class brought their spouses and went out to dinner. Everyone at that table knew that that woman's husband was having an affair with that woman except the wife. That was disgusting. And everybody sat there and had dinner and tolerated it. That's not nice. God says that's not nice. You shouldn't be socializing under those circumstances. That was the wife of the Tai Chi leader. Who the Tai Chi leader knew that his wife was having an affair with the student. I should have not stayed in that class. I should have left that school. Because what was going on there wasn't nice, you see. So the Lord's bringing his church and he's bringing this nation back to his state of morality. However he's going to do it, I think it's begun to a degree with this COVID-19 nonsense. He's going to do it. It will be more painful for some than for others. So if you're hearing my voice and you're in fornication, and that means anything beyond a peck on the cheek, brethren, you better get out now, because the Lord's all whipped up over this thing. He's all whipped up over this thing. I'm telling you, you better get out now before he gets you out. Because when he gets you out, you are not going to be happy the way he gets you out of it. All you have to do is pack your bag and move out. If you're out already, you were out. If you stayed out, give her key back. Either marry her or get out. This is your last warning. You won't be happy. He's going to get you out in a way you won't be happy. Get yourself out now.